Alright, boys. I just got back from a hunt. As soon as I made that video yesterday, which is still today for me, yesterday for you, I went hunting with my crossbow and my air rifle both. I was thinking, like, what am I going to do today? I kind of want to shoot squirrels, and I kind of want to go deer hunting too because I got these tags. It's deer season. Might as well get out there. It's fucking nice weather. And I always see this doe behind my house every time I go through those fields. Like, I always see her around there, and I'm like, I'm going to go find that doe. I'm going to shoot it and drag it home. And practice with my bow, or my crossbow. Yeah, I got it pretty much dialed in. Not precise, but I got it pretty good. Took 4 shots. And cocked it. Went out. And let me just show you on Photoshop. This is a great story. This is one of the best hunts I've ever had. I'll go here. So at the top of the screen, you'll see T2's house. Where's my arrow pointer device? Right here. This is my house. Where's let me do some drawing. Let's get the pencil tool out here. So let's see. You're probably familiar with some of this stuff. Right over here, I think it's that graveyard. Here's my pond. And I went like through here. Here's my little practice target, the bale of hay right there. You probably saw that from, well, you haven't seen that yet because I made a video about it. But I've seen that deer before. Like, I've seen the deer like right here behind my pond. I've seen tracks at my pond. I think it came like through this way. I've seen it like in this little stretch of woods before. I've spooked it out of there. I've seen it over here behind these trees before. So this doe is all around this field behind my house. So this is where I've seen her before. And also this is where I showed you guys when I went picking blackberries. I picked them along here and 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 along here. This is where I picked my blackberries. So now you're kind of familiar with and right here around my house. Here's that old barn I snuck into that time and stole those tobacco sticks. Okay, so this is pretty much how it goes. Here's the big cornfield. Remember that time I almost got killed? I was sitting right here. So I told you that one video I came along through here. This is where the blackberry bushes got mowed down. Here's where I was sitting. Here's where those 2 deer came out this way one time, chased by a coyote. I did this, sucked on my thumb. Coyote stopped like right here. I was right here. You looked at me. Have a lot of adventures in these woods. Right here, there's a deer stand, an old deer stand made out of wood. That's about where I was hiding when this guy came along right through here, and I was standing about right here, and he was about right here, and I almost died because he could have shot me. This looks like some Madden going on. So, here's what I did today. I came out here like this. I walked along the side of this hill, because this is a really kind of steep hill right here. Kind of wears you out. If you go straight up to this barn, it's like climbing a hill. So I went around the slide of it. So I was looking along here. I went through here, these woods. I came up through here, this little shortcut right here, this doe bank. So I took the doe shortcut and went through here, and I checked this little spot. I went around through this spot right here and I went into these woods, and I sat right here for a while. I sat there and I squirrel hunted because there's a really good hickory nut tree, and you'd expect to see squirrels there, but I didn't. So here's what I did. Right here, I have found a drowning fish before, a mushroom. So I went on through these woods. I was looking for deer rubs right in here. I started seeing deer rubs. Like, there's a bunch of cedar trees in here. It's a good spot for finding deer rubs. And I came out the woods right here. Right? Are you watching me? Are you watching? Right about right here, there's some tall grass. It's kind of like reeds on a pond. And I walked right into this 4-point buck. 4-point buck sitting right here. I'm going to draw a little deer. With little antlers. Let's put some big old fucking antlers on him. And then right here, there's another deer. They're just eating grass, just walking along the side of these woods right here. And I thought this was a doe at first. I stopped. I'm like freaking out. I ducked behind those bushes. I actually said, holy fuck. Like, not out loud, but I kind of whispered, holy fuck. And I put my crossbow down. I got the bolt out. I put the bolt into the crossbow. I'm like, this is classic, like, hunting video game scenario. I'm thinking I'm going to spook these deer if I haven't already. I'm so nervous and shit, freaking out. And I get my little collar here and I go just kind of give him a little grunt. I can think there's another buck around here. I'm not a human, I'm another deer. Give me a little one of those. Right? I didn't do all like that. I did like 2 or 3 grunts. So I'm watching these deer, they're not paying attention to me. They're just like, I must have been downwind from them. Like perfect wind. They're about 80 yards. Max distance on the crossbow is about 70 yards. The farthest one's probably about 80. The other ones are probably about 60 maybe. It's like, I looked at it. It's not a doe, it's a spike. It's a 4-point and there's a spike. Let me draw a little joink, joink, little spike buck right there. I'm like, man, I just want to take some meat home. I'll shoot this spike. It's close enough. I could probably just kind of walk towards it and get in range and pop it. But it's a fucking 4-point right there. And I'm like, let me just sit here and think about this a minute. Because, I mean, the 4-point's not that big a deal. But I've never seen like a buck with an actual rack out in the wilds. Like in what I'm hunting. I've seen them on TV a lot. But I always just see does. The little first buck I killed a few years ago, it was like a 3-point. It was like a spike where one of the points had like barely split. It was like nothing. My brother used to see him like all the time. He was out way more than I was though. This was like a majestic fucking buck scenario. It's a stag, if you would. Almost like this part of the year, they're all rubbing trees, so you expect them to still have fuzz on them, like a felt. But these were like glistening white tines. It looked like they were sharp, deadly weapons. Their antlers. So I ducked back down. And I left my grunt call and my air rifle on the ground behind me. It was probably a mistake. I'll tell you why in a second. I'm watching this 4-point, and they look like they're walking away from me, but they probably heard where I grunted, and the 4-point starts coming towards me. I'm like, oh shit, classic game scenario. It's like I'm sitting behind these bushes, like they can't see me. But they're curious about what I am because I grunted. They're coming towards me. I'm just going to sit. There's a little dip right between me and these deer. They went down into that dip where you can't see them no more. I'm like, oh, okay. When they come out of this dip, they're going to be like right on top of me because they're going to be going uphill. They'll be sniffing, wondering where I am. Just like those fucking, the Hunter video game, dude. So I got my crossbow ready. I got the safety off. I got the arrow in. I'm waiting. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. Like 4, 5 minutes go by. Nothing's happening. I'm like, well, shit, did they just like lay down in this little dip and like start bedding down right there? So I'm like, I'm gonna stand up. And I stood up. Ain't fucking nothing there. I don't know what happened. So what happened was, I guess they went into the woods like this. They did a little one of these. They still hadn't detected me, but maybe they were a little suspicious and they ducked into the woods. So what I did, I get my bow and I walk along the way they were going. And I hear something in the woods, like crashing a little bit. Not running, more like they just kind of turned like a 90-degree angle, like they're just kind of situating themselves and looking around. Like they're not really hyper yet. Still haven't busted me. So I walked actually along the way they came. Then I turned around, I came back, and I went around this little loop right here. And then right here, there's a little opening. This is like a, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like you could tell this is like an easy way to get in and out of the woods. Mostly you got like bushes and briars and it's like a big mess. But this is a really good entry and exit point of egress for these deer. So I'm like, I'm going to watch this spot for when they come out. But I didn't. I got impatient. I'm like, I'm going to go on into these woods. If they're laid down and bedding down, I'm taking into consideration the fact that I want to go home and play Path of Exile. And that it's like 4 in the afternoon. I'm going to have to skin them and gut them. It's going to take all night. I got work tomorrow. All these things are factoring into my decision to go ahead and push these deer. So I went into the woods. I sat down on the ground, not next to a tree or anything. I didn't see any deer yet. And then there's nothing going on for a while. And there's all this squirrel activity starts happening. Like 2 squirrels start chasing each other like they're about to start mating, like going around and around this tree right in front of me, giving me plenty of opportunities to shoot them if I had my air gun. My air gun back here in these big tall reeds just laying on the ground. Didn't take it with me. So, didn't have my grunt call to grunt at the deer. Didn't have my air gun. I'm just sitting there. Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. I saw another squirrel over here on the right. Another squirrel comes within less than 10 feet from me behind me. I could have almost threw a rock and hit him. He's sitting there with a nut in his mouth looking at me like waving his little tail. Didn't give a fuck. I'm like, damn it. I could have had a consolation prize at least. I could have took some squirrels home. Then, out of nowhere, I see the deer again. They're like, they ran across from me. Like, I'm sitting here in these trees. They run across this direction again. I'm like, what are they doing over there? I can just see them through the opening in the trees, like through the leaves. I can see movement. There's like beasts, like cow-sized beasts running across. I don't like. It might have even been different deer. It might have been 3 of them. It looked like 2 or 3 deer just like galloping, like they were being kind of pushed by a coyote or something. Maybe they smelled my old trail where I walked along there, and they were like spooked and they ran because they smelled my old trail. But they were running in the direction of this guy over here was mowing his yard, so I didn't think they were going to keep going that way. What I think they might have done is like stop right in here and lay down and bedded down right here, or they hooked a 90 and went down here in these cornfields and not this direction. Which, if I had been sitting like here or like here, maybe I would have seen them. Like, this is a really good spot because you just walk along these fields. There's so many different places you'll see a deer. You'll always see a deer usually just walking along these fields, or probably even in these woods. So yeah, that was pretty much the whole story. I went back and got my gun. I sat there again looking for those squirrels. They never did show up again. You have to really be hardcore deer hunting for squirrels to show up. That's what I found out. Squirrels just, if you're deer hunting, squirrels don't give a shit about you. They'll just play with you and like they know you're not going to shoot them. But if you're looking for squirrels, it's kind of hard. Man, that was a fucking adventure. I'm loving this crossbow. I've really got to get a sling for my air rifle so I can sling it and have my crossbow carried, because you want to have that in case you pop up and see a deer like that. The air rifle, you can wait till you're in the woods to shoot squirrels with it. But, yeah, I'm going to order some stuff on Amazon, and I'm getting super psyched. It's going to be a great deer season, I think.